My pranams to all Atma Jyotis, divine light of the self. Let us continue our contemplation on Mandukya Karika by Sri Gaudapadacharya. We are taking up shloka number 4.61 to 4.70. The chapter 4 of the Mandukya Karika is Alata Shanti Prakarana, where Gaudapadacharya explains the Mithyavada or the unreality of the world through example of light. Torch of light, when you can rotate, it appears like a circle. When you move horizontally, it appears like a line. There's no line, there's no circle. The circle didn't come from the line, torch. Line didn't come from the torch. The torch alone was there. Similarly, from the Atma, the world appeared, the world and mind appeared. Okay, it's only appearance but no reality. So this is called Mithyatva, unreal. Okay, so Gaudapadacharya has brought in two concepts here, two aspects here. One is called Ajativada. There's no creation at all, right? So he described, so far he dealt with the how there is no creation. Then he gives some concession and says there is a creation, appearance of creation. There's no creation, is called Ajativada. The creation appears to be there, the world appears to be there, is called Mithyavada or Mayavada. So Sri Shankaracharya gave importance to Mayavada, but both are same. In Ajativada, Gaudapadacharya denies the existence of the world altogether. The creation of the world is altogether denied. In Mayavada, okay, the world appears to be there. Appearance is not real. So Ajativada and Mayavada are both same, told in slightly different words. Now let us look at the world and mind. The world and mind appear together. The mind and world appear simultaneously. The world is the mind, mind is the world. There's no mind, there's no world. So now why you have to understand the illusory nature of the world, or mithya or maya, unreality of the world. Why you have to understand? Why? What is important? What is the importance of that? Why should we focus on unreality of the world? We should focus on unreality of the world only to focus on the reality of the self, Atma. Atma alone is real. The world is unreal. To understand that, we have to focus on unreality of the world. Otherwise, there's not important. I've heard a story of an alcoholic, a drunkard. He promises his wife that he will never touch alcohol again in his life. But come 7 o'clock in the evening, his friends call. Again, he is in the bar, sitting whole night, drinking. By the time it is 2 o'clock in the night, he has drunk heavily. He starts going home and he falls. He injures himself. He is afraid that his wife will shout at him. He slowly opens the door, goes to the bathroom, sees there are a lot of injuries on the face. He is hurt, the lot of hurt marks on the face because he has fallen. He didn't want to wake up his wife. He puts band-aid on the face. and goes to sleep silently without making noise. Next day morning, wife gets up, sees the husband, and she's very angry. She pours a bucket of water on his head and wakes him up. You drank yesterday again? You took alcohol again yesterday? No, 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 I didn't take alcohol. I promise I didn't take alcohol. I fell yesterday while coming on. I fell in the fell into a ditch yesterday while coming home. I was injured, so I didn't want to wake you up. I put a band-aid and slept. So immediately wife catches hold of him. Yes, I understand you are injured and you have put a band-aid. She takes him to the bathroom. The band-aid is put on the mirror. This is life. We are living in a sort of imaginary world. This imagination is called Maya, where I identify with the body and mind. And no matter what I do in life, there's no satisfaction. So many things can go wrong in the world, and I get hurt. And I try to fix the problem in the world. The drunkard tries to fix the problem. He's injured, but he is fixing the problem on the mirror. The band-aid is put on the mirror. We are trying to put a band-aid in the world. We are trying to solve the problem in the world, where the real problem is not the world. Real problem is our image of ourselves. Who am I is the problem. The correction is not required in the world. The correction is not required in the body and mind. First, we try to repair the world. Something is wrong with the world, I try to repair. Or I think that there's something wrong with me. I have an image of myself. I try to correct my image to fit into the world. No matter how hard I try, still there's a problem. We are always trying to correct the image in the mirror, without realizing that the body and mind and the world is nothing but a reflection or image in consciousness. The real I is the consciousness. Whereas the I which I consider myself, which is the body, mind, and intellect, or the me is the body and mind and intellect, is the reflection, it's not original. All our effort is to fix the problem in the image, not understanding what is reality. Reality is the real I. Real I is the consciousness. So the consciousness, there's no change at all. The consciousness is the witness of changes happening in the body and mind in the world. The consciousness itself, it doesn't undergo any changes. The body and the mind and the world, they appear together. They are not appearing separately. You cannot separate out the body, mind, and the world. When, for example, when you go to sleep, the dream body and the dream world appear together. Okay. In the dream also you have to thinking. You think that your thinking is happening in your brain, in your mind, whereas the world is outside in your dream. In your dream, you are going in a forest, a tiger is chasing you. In the dream, the imagination is the tiger is outside, the forest is outside. I'm afraid, the fear is inside me. So there is a separation of subject and object in the dream. So the feeling that the mind is inside me, I'm afraid in my mind, whereas the tiger is chasing me, tiger is outside. That's the experience in the dream. There's a subject-object feeling is there. After you wake up, you realize that the subject was experiencing the myself, the tiger, the thoughts in the mind of the person who is experiencing the dream character, they are all one reality. They are not two. The one mind appeared as the subject and object. The mind itself got split into subject and object. And the duality appeared, the mind appeared as the subject and object. The duality appeared where there was no duality. And the moment the mind appeared as subject and object, there's a fear. The tiger is chasing me, I am running. So this is very clear when I wake up from the dream. Exactly the same thing is happening in the waking state. Maya is appearing as this, due to Maya, there's an appearance of the subject and object. The me, the body and mind, and the world is appearing together. So this you can experience when you wake up in the morning. There's an I thought comes. In deep state, there's no world, there's no body, there's no mind. The I thought comes. The I thought is the mind. Then the body appears. And then the world appears. I thought gets associated with the body and becomes the experiencer of the world. The world is separate from me. Okay. So there is a feeling of separation, and there is a constant struggle for survival, the constant struggle for growth in the world. Even though it's one reality appearing as two. The mind and the body and the world cannot be separated. It is the world, there is the mind which is appearing as the world. You cannot separate out the mind and the world. So what is the world? Okay, there's sun, there's a moon, okay, and there's street, there's a river. What is this? Nothing but a thought. If there is no thought, there is no world. The world is nothing but thoughts. And thought is nothing but the mind. So there is no separation possible between the mind and the world. Mind and the world is one reality. It appears as two. It appears as duality, the subject and object. Let us take this sound. The world is made up of, for me, the experience of the world is considered of sight, touch, smell, sound, and taste. Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa, Gandha. These are the 5 aspects of the world, 5 sensations. So I hear a sound. When you hear a sound, without ear, you cannot hear a sound. The sound ear is required to hear the sound. Can you separate out the ear from the sound? The proof that there is an ear, if you have to know that there is ear, there is sound is required. Let us say you are putting into a room where there is no sound at all. It's a sound-proof room. Then you don't know whether you are able to hear or not. Your hearing faculty, ear is there or not, you can't understand. To understand ear is there, you need a sound. Right? So, without sound, you don't know whether your ear is functional or not. Right? So, to understand the ear is there, you need sound. To understand sound, you need ear. So, which is depend on what? Is sound depend on the ear or ear depend on the sound? I mean, existence of ear depends on the sound. Existence of sound depends on the ear. Proof of ear depends on the sound. Proof of sound depends on the ear. They are mutually dependent. That's why when you go to a doctor who is testing your hearing, right? a doctor who has to test hearing, he will use a various tones, musical tones. So if you hear, you say yes. So it means your hearing ability is proven by the sound. The sound is proven by the hearing ability. They are mutually dependent. The mutually dependent thing cannot exist in the world. One depending on the other. Both of them, they have to depend on something else. Otherwise, they cannot exist in each other. Right? Two things which are depending on each other cannot exist. Sound depends on the ear depends on sound. Okay? The world depends on the presence of the body depends on the presence of the world. The body, the presence of the body is known by the mind is known by the body. If the mind cannot, if there's no objects, I don't know whether there's a mind at all. So two things which are mutually dependent on each other, they don't exist. They need something else to exist independently. Something else independent to exist. Independent. Something else independent of them to exist. What is that independent of that? What is that independent thing? That is the I, reality, this Atma, the consciousness, the Sakshi. Both ear and the sound, they are dependent on the Sakshi. The mutual things, dependent things cannot exist. The body and the world depend on the mind. Mind depends on the body and the world. How? The mind depends on the mind. Mind is nothing but thoughts. There cannot be thoughts. There are no objects. Object is nothing but the world. So mind depends on the objects. Object depends on the mind. So they are interdependent. Interdependent cannot exist without an independent reality. And independent reality is the Atma, the Sakshi. And I am that Sakshi. So what am I saying? The real I, Atma, is the independent reality, the substratum, the consciousness, the awareness, the Sakshi, without which the mind and the world doesn't exist. So far, I was thinking that I am dependent on the world for existence, which is my wrong image. I am surviving because of the world. What I don't realize is that world is surviving because of me. The real I, world is surviving because of real I. So my understanding of life is inverted, ulta pulta. I think that I have to survive in the world. I have to depend something in the world. Okay, without that I cannot survive. What I don't realize, the world, the body, and the mind depends on the observer, the Sakshi, the witness, the consciousness, the awareness, the real I for survival. But all the while I am thinking that I am depending on the world. I am surviving in the world. I have problems. In fact, real I has no problems at all. The false I or the ego or the jiva has a problem because the jiva is nothing but the mind. Jagat is the world. The jiva and jagat appear together. The jiva will always have the problem because jiva depends on the jagat, jagat depends on the jiva. They are actually dependent reality. Without jiva, there is no jagat. Without jagat, there is no jiva. They are mutually dependent. Without the individual consciousness, the ego consciousness, the world is not there. The world cannot exist. Ego cannot exist without the world and the body. Jiva and jagat are appearing together. You cannot separate them out. That you can see in the dream. Dream character and the dream world, they appear together. They are dependent on each other. The dream character thinks the world is outside, and the dream character and the world appear together. You cannot separate out. Dream character is there, there's no dream world. If there's no dream world, there's no dream character. But dream world and dream character both are dependent on the person who is sleeping. The sleeping person is the witness, the Sakshi, the consciousness. The person who is sleeping is not at all affected by what's happening in the dream. He is the independent reality. Same thing is happening in the waking state. The real I, is not dependent on anything. Okay. But whole of my life, I am wasting my life thinking that I am dependent on the world. My happiness is dependent on the world. My unhappiness is dependent on the world. In reality, the world is dependent on the real I. So all that I have to realize is that I am the real I. The real I has no problem. The false I has no solution. And we are trying to find the solution for the false I all the time. Because it's false. The problem is false, solution is false. Whatever solution you put, it doesn't solve the problem for the false I. It has its own strategies of coming out with new problems. The moment you fix one problem, another problem will come out. It is unreal. Okay, it is a product of Maya. So the whole purpose of saying the mithyatva or unreality or ajativada or mayavada is to tell you the body, mind and world are unreal. Okay. So don't be bothered too much about the unreality of the world. Our problem starts when I start identifying with the mind. Okay. I start the real I confuse with the mind. The ego is confused with the real I. So if you understand that mind is just not you, the world and mind are coming together, they are appearing. Okay, together. So then you'll be able to use the mind. Otherwise, you start thinking I am the mind and get trapped in the mind. If you know I am different from the mind, I don't have them. I am not identifying with the mind. Mind is just an instrument, tool. Then you'll be able to use the mind. So it's like this. I'm wearing glasses, red glasses. The world is appearing red. I think so bad. The world is appearing red. This is dangerous. Without understanding that I'm wearing red glasses. The moment I understand, oh, this is red glasses, the red glass and the world appearing are red because they are part of the problem of the instrument. Okay. My eyes are different from the glasses. Then I understand there's no problem with my eyes. So the real I has to be separate from the false I, ego, the jiva, and the world, jagat. The jiva and jagat are appearing together as a mind. Okay. They are total one package, the mind and the world. Jiva, jagat are the appearance in the mind. The consciousness, I am the consciousness which is separate from jiva and jagat. Okay. So now, when I'm dealing in the world, when I'm dealing with the world, right? The I, so I say I am eating. So in I am eating, the I includes the I plus body is eating. Right? So the I includes the body. When I say it, I tell to somebody that I'm worried, I include the mind. For the transaction purpose, you can include the body and mind for the transaction in the world. But you have to know reality that I does not have mind, does not have body. I am free from mind, free from body. The mind, body, and world just appearances like a dream appearance and they disappear. How they disappear? A flame is there, a lamp flame. When lamp flame is burning, it is appearing. So when lamp flame goes up, then nothing is there. So like that, the world and mind are appearing and disappearing like a lamp flame. It's not there, nothing is there, no trace is there. Now, if you say why Maya is there, then I will say for always there's a light, there's always shadow. You cannot say why shadow is there. Light, shadow follows the light. Light is the reality, shadow is unreality. So the Atma, the self is the reality, the Maya is the unreality. They are following unreality follows the reality. But all that you do is don't worry about why unreality is there. Don't get me trapped by the unreality. Understand? The I is separate from the world. The mind and the world do not have existence of their own at all. They are depending on the consciousness. Okay. So the world depends on the real self, Atma. They don't have any existence of. But when I wake up, okay, I identify with my body and I'm called Vishwa. I identify the body, okay. Then I become Vishwa, then I become the Vishwa, the Jiva, and I start suffering because of the world, forgetting my true nature. In dream state, I become the Taijasa, identify with the dream body and start experiencing the dream world. So all that I have to learn is not to identify, be aware, I am separate from the body and mind. I am the Sakshi. For transaction purpose, you use the mind, use the body. But don't worry about too much worry about fixing the problem. They are unreality and unreality. The unreal problems cannot be fixed. So this is what is this is what Gaudapada is trying to communicate to us. We are actually, the body and mind are unreal, and the world is unreal. It's an appearance, like a dream body, dream world. In dream world, you have a lot of problems. You try to fix up the problem, some solution appears to be there, but on waking up, you understand both problem and solution are unreal. Same thing is happening here also, in the waking state also. We have problem of money, we have problem of health, we have problem of relationships. Okay, we have problems of so many different types of problems. And we try to find a solution. No wonder, don't worry about try to find a solution. But don't be too much worried about the solution, because you are not the world, you are only appearance. All that you have to do is try to wake up and understand the dream world, the waking world and the waking body, both are unreal. Your problems are unreal and solutions are unreal. As long as the body and mind and the world is there, you deal with them. When understanding very well is the mind is my instrument rather than I am the mind. With that, we'll conclude today's session. We'll take up next class.